Steve Perry, Journey, Don't Stop Believing, vocal analysis from the studio isolated vocals. So we get to hear lots of details in both approach and production.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere.
Okay, so there's lots to say about Steve's voice. And the main thing that people want to know about is the rasp. Like, how does he get that beautiful, consistent rasp? I'll get there, but I want to point out a few things that we need to pay attention to first, because otherwise the rasp isn't going to make any sense. Listen to how he shrinks and grows his voice as he navigates these pitches. It's not just a static amount of air or a static approach. Also, how he directs his resonance backward and forward. More out the back of his head and out of the front of his head.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Listen to Lonely World.
In a lonely world. In a lonely world.
And lonely. He's actually
In a lonely world.
He's actually in a supported head voice there for lonely, but you'd never know it.
In a lonely world.
And then he brings it forward for world, and it's a bit more of a belt. Still not a full-on belt.
In a lonely
world. You hear the difference? There's management of vocal weight in that phrase. That creates this freedom out of his voice that you don't immediately perceive, especially when listening to the studio recording. Now, listen to this.
She took the midnight train going anywhere.
See how much he grows there?
She took the midnight train.
And midnight, ha, ha. And then,
Train going anywhere.
just try this with your voice. Even if you have to do it lower, there's head voice and chest voice being used. There's shrinking and growing. There's so much more going on than just a guy who has great tone with rasp.
Train going anywhere. Going anywhere.
Going anywhere. I love nerding out on different vocalists and their approaches, especially in this context with isolated vocals so you can hear all the details. I like it because I get to pull things out of what they're doing and put it in my own voice and experiment with it, and I improve immensely just by the way I listen and experiment. It's not about sounding like Journey, it's about what can I do, what can I add to my voice. If you would like help doing this, and you're inspired by this approach, click the link below and join my free course in the pinned comment or video description, and I'll help you pull things out of your voice you never knew were there.
Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit.
There's that throwing the resonance back again.
He took the midnight train going anywhere.
Okay. Guitar takes over for a second.
A singer in a smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume.
Hear the wine.
The smell of wine and cheap.
Smell the wine, smell the wine.
The smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers.
One of my favorite lines ever right here.
It goes on and on and on and on.
Listen to the way he forms on as the line goes on and on.
It goes on.
It goes on and without pitch. It goes on and on and on and on. On.
It goes on and on and on and on.
Goes on and on and on and on. Notice harnessing this dynamic approach and not just passing it off as one good tone will blow your mind in terms of possibilities with your own voice if you learn to manipulate the tone over the notes.
It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night.
There's one of those wonderful lightened transitions there.
In the night.
Better than almost anyone at doing this.
Street lights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill.
Beautiful.
Paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some are born to sing the blues.
Hear how light he was on Sing?
Some are born to sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on.
There's that wonderful resonance transfer again there. But listen here.
Oh, the movie
Sounds like a punch.
Oh, the movie never ends. It
Listen to movie.
Oh, the movie
Mo, mo, mo. That's a mixed note. That's not a chest note.
Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. Their shadows searching in the night.
We're going to get to his rasp approach in just a second.
Street lights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night.
You notice he's even got the rasp up there.
In the night. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light.
Listen to how he manipulates that E vowel.
Hold on to that feeling.
Feel.
Hold on to that feeling. Street light. People. Don't stop believing. Hold on. Street light. Hold on. Street light. Hold on. Street light. People.
And I hope by now you can hear him not only modifying the notes, but modifying his placement. It gives it a whole other character.
Street light. People.
That's so light there.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light. People. Don't stop.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, let's talk about rasp. As I was saying in the beginning, it's very important that we understand how he uses his range, his registers, his mixed voice, his dynamics before we try the rasp. Some of this, well, maybe a lot of it, he's just doing without thinking about. His his muscle memory has developed this pleasing posture, this sort of natural rasp in his voice. There's no damage in his voice, but here's what's going on. And he's learned to moderate this across all of his different resonances and registers, which is just incredible. Here's a note, a middle chest voice note. No audible or intentional rasp there at all. Now, this very subtle compression that I'm going to add, I'm going to think of as back and up. So this is not not merely just up. That's not subtle enough. Even if I try to make it subtle, no. But if I think up, in other words, I'm constricting up, but then I'm also there's a bit of this, and I'm going to sort of sigh out the note. I'm going to find that part where I'm bringing the sensation back as I'm closing a little bit, and you get this sort of broken up sound. There it is. There it is. Oh, and somehow live there. Oh, and you can hear me breaking a little bit more, but I'm not dumping air. I'm actually compressing. I'm holding back a little air, but it's on this edge right before you crack, not when you crack, but right before you crack. Feel and know, feeling. I think this is the posture he uses. And he's gotten that muscle memory down so well that he can use it everywhere and bridge the gap as he's feeling out different postures in his voice. I hope this was super helpful. It's been revelatory for me as I've studied his voice more in the past several weeks in advance of making this video. Be inspired and try things with your voice, even if they sound a little bit weird in the beginning. And you'll uncover all sorts of things. And if you'd like more help doing that in a non-judgmental, freeing way, click that link below in the pinned comment or video description and join my free course. We'll see you for more.